It's time once again for some HTBL baseball, my friends. Hello, everybody. This is Big Paulie coming to you alive and well on this July 7th, the day after Hurricane Elsa was supposed to hit us and never did. 2021. It's also the day that the Tampa Bay Lightning could clinch a Stanley Cup. And earlier today, it was a day where five Tampa Bay Rays pitchers in real life threw a no-hitter against Cleveland, but it's not going to count because it was the second game of a doubleheader. So let's get you to the scores from the timeline in the game April 23rd, and then we will get to our game of April 24th. It's going to be Texas on the road against Seattle. So in everybody's 16th game, it was Baltimore over Boston 4-3. It was McGinty over Tiant, Grich 3 for 4, two doubles and a stolen base. In a slugfest that finally went the Yankees' way, yes, Tampa Bay's back in New York. It was the Yankees over the Rays 10-6. Ford over lefty Grove. Gil Hodges for the Rays 2 for 4, a homer, his fifth, and a triple. The White Sox goosed the Blue Jays 3-0. It was Donovan over Clancy. Ventura 1 for 3, a homer. The White Sox 9-7. The Blue Jays 7-9. Speaking of 7-9s and 9-7s, it's Detroit defeating Cleveland 5-3 to go to 7-9. Sure, Jerry Ryan, the actress, loves hearing those numbers. Newhouser 3-1. Wynn 2-1. Red Ralph was 2 for 2 and a double. Houston over the Browns 5-4. Dotel over Wilkes. Farrell went 2 for 3, a triple and a double. The Phillies continue to go on their merry way. They beat the Mets 9-1, but everybody's beating the Mets. Ferguson 3-0 over Seaver 1-3. Schmidt 3 for 5, his fifth home run and 2 RBIs. The Marlins over the Nats 9-1. Nichols over Stottlemyre. Ott went 3 for 4. He plays for the Marlins. Hit his third home run and drove in 6. The Reds continue to roll 13-5 over the Braves yesterday. Raffensperger over Schmaltz, who is now 0-4. Raffensperger 2-2. Justice had 2 bombs on the day, 2 for 3. His home run total is now 3, and he had 4 RBIs. The Expos over the Pirates 4-3. Pfeffer over Cooper. Pfeffer 4-0. Cooper 1-3. Wagner 3 for 5, 2 doubles. Kansas City over Minnesota 5-1. Waddell over Cott. Waddell 1-1. Cat now 3-1. Shaw 2 for 2, 2 doubles. The Brewers and Cardinals, two teams excelling right now in the National League Midwest. But it was the Brewers prevailing 5-4. Burke 2-0 over Dean 2-2. Berger 3 for 4. 2 homers to get to 10 on the year and 3 RBIs. The Cubs visit the Rockies again and they win 3-2. Vaughn 1-2 over Pittenger 2-2. Rosario 2 for 4 and a homer, his second. The Angels over the A's 9-3 in a battle of California teams. Ryan over Blue. Ryan 1-3. Vida Blue 0-4. Davis 2 for 5, a homer, his first, and 5 ribbies. Texas over Seattle 2-0. That'll be the game we'll have for you shortly. Buffington over White, each pitcher 2-2. Jennings 3 for 5, not two doubles, a double. The game you saw on our last stream, it was Arizona 10-2 over San Diego. Clarkson over Silver King. Pinky Whitney 2 for 4, a homer, and a triple. The Giants over the Dodgers 6-2. Marichal over Sutton. Kent 2 for 4, 2 home runs, and 3 RBIs. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to the teams we haven't gotten to yet. And that brings us to our game of the day. Today I'll be playing as Seattle against Texas. I don't think we've looked at Texas yet. Then on our next episode I'm going to try to get Boston in. The Boston Red Sox, I don't think we've looked at them yet. We may have, but we'll give Boston a look-see. So we'll play this game. It is at Safeco Field. It is at Seattle, Washington. I'll be playing as Seattle. We'll go through the lineups. I'll let the computer set who should start. I do believe we have had Seattle before, but I'm pretty sure we haven't had Texas before. So there's the lineups, and
Pitching for Seattle, Dick. Rudolph.
Dick Rudolph will pitch for Seattle, and Mullen pitches for Texas. We'll go through the lineup of Texas right now before we get started. Safeco Field, 62 degrees, winds calm. Bit of a hitter's park if you are a power hitter, but if you are a hitter for average, or if you hit for power from the right, as a right-handed batter, you're going to have a little bit of trouble. Jennings leads off. He is the shortstop. Huey Jennings, that is. Franco is at second. He bats second. Rodriguez is catching, batting third. Greer in left, batting fourth. Juan Gonzalez, right field, batting fifth. Hamilton at center, bats sixth. Buddy Bell is at third, batting seventh. Young is the DH, batting eighth. And Mike Napoli is the first baseman, batting ninth. For the Seattle defense, Phil Bradley is a 5 and a 3 in left. Ken Griffey Jr. a 7 and a 6 at center. O'Neill a 6 and an 8 in right. David Bell is a 7 at third. Rodriguez, A-Rod, a 7 at short. Reynolds a 9 at second. Olerud a 6 at first. Jojima a 7 with an 8 arm catching, and Dick Rudolph is a 3 at the pitcher's mound. Dick Rudolph comes in with a 2.54 pitching ERA, 2-1 on the year, 28 and a third innings pitched. He's given up 31 hits, 1 homer, 7 walks, but he has struck out 15. And so far, the hitters are having a little bit of a time with Rudolph. His numbers are a little bit above what his real life average should be. So here we go. It's Jennings leading off. Huey is 239 on the year, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. He has stolen 5 bases, and he is a threat to bunt. So I'm going to do what I don't normally do, and I'm going to bring the corners in. Grounder. Olerud will take it to the bag unassisted from the grass, and there's 1 out. Julio Franco, 238 on the year, a homer and 7 ribbies. Hitting below average so far this season. That's a grounder to first. Olerud again unassisted to the bag, and there's 2 outs. That brings up Ivan Rodriguez, 207 on the year, a homer and 7 ribbies. Well below his averages. Grounder to third. Bell, Olerud, side retired. And Texas can't get anything done in the first.
Mullen.
After a half inning, we have no score. Now let's go through the Seattle lineup. Bradley leading off, playing left field. Reynolds at second, bats second. Edgar Martinez, the DH, hits third. A-Rod, the shortstop, hitting fourth. John Olerud is at first base, batting fifth. Griffey Jr. at center field, bats sixth. O'Neill in right, batting seventh. Jojima is the catcher, batting eighth. Bell is at third base. He bats ninth. Dick Rudolph is the pitcher for Seattle. He's given up 10 pitches already. And let's go through the defense for Texas. Rusty Greer is a 7 and a 3 in left field. Josh Hamilton is a 7 and a 7, double sevens, in center. Juan Gonzalez, a 4 and a 4 in right. Buddy Bell, a 9 at third. Huey Jennings, a 7 at shortstop. Franco is a 4 at second. Napoli, a 7 at first base, as you see the corners playing in, thinking Bradley's got a bunt. Ivan Rodriguez is a 10 with a 7 arm. He catches. Mullen is a 3. That's his range pitching. And Mullen comes in the game, a 104 ERA, 2-1 on the season, 26th in the third innings pitched. He's given up 16 hits and 12 walks, has struck out 13. And the whip and the opposing batting average way lower than what his real life average should indicate. So Bradley leading off, and Texas thinks that I am going to pull off a bunt here for a hit. I am not. And that's hit right to Jennings, line drive for the first out. Harold Reynolds, 227 on the year, a homer and 4 ribbies. If I didn't mention it earlier, Bradley's batting average is only 185. We'll look at that at future at-bats. Reynolds is another guy who could bunt but is choosing not to. And that's the first K for Mullins. That gets him up to 14 on the season. Edgar Martinez, 317 on the year, 4 homers and 7 RBIs. Infield playing back for Edgar. Grounder, a great play by Jennings over the first, and the side retired for Seattle in their inning number 1. So we've played an inning, and neither team has scored or gotten a hit. Rusty Greer is the new hitter for Texas. 246 on the year, no homers and 11 RBIs. A bit below average so far this year. That's a walk. First base runner in the game. And now Rudolph will pitch to Juan Gonzalez. Juan so far in the year yet to get a home run, 203 and 7 RBIs. This is hit well to left center, and Bradley can just look up and watch this bounce off the wall. Greer has gone to third. There's very little chance of getting him, so he will score, and Gonzalez is in there with a double, and Texas has taken a 1-0 lead. Josh Hamilton, 182 on the year with just one lone RBI. That's a base hit up the middle. And Juan is going to move to third, and Hamilton is at first base. This brings up Buddy Bell. Buddy is 133 on the year. No homers and no RBIs. He has only had 15 at-bats. This is a little squibber in front of the plate that goes foul, and the count now 0-2. Bell was thinking bunt there, maybe? Here's the pitch. Up the middle. Griffey will catch it, and a runner scores to make it a 2-0 Texas lead. Michael Young, 314 on the year, a homer and 8 RBIs. He is the 8 hitter for Texas. He's struck out. That's number 1 for Rudolph. And now it's down to Mike Napoli with 2 outs in the top of the second. Napoli on the year, 160, no homers, 2 RBIs. He could also catch. Hit well to left, but Bradley gets to it, and the side is retired in the Texas second. But they pick up 2, and we go to the bottom of the second with Seattle with work to do, trailing 2-0. A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, 295 on the year, 6 home runs, 10 RBIs. A little behind Wally Berger of Milwaukee for the home run lead. And that's a little squibber up the middle. Jennings, Napoli, 1 out. John Olerud, 197 on the year, 1 homer and 4 RBIs to this point in the year. That's ball 4, and Olerud is aboard. Ken Griffey, 194 on the year, 5 homers and 12 RBIs. He's been struggling a bit. Grounder to first base. They'll get the force at second. 3-6, and that's going to put Griffey on board with 2 out. We'll see if Griffey's feeling a little frisky. Yes, he is. Let's try to move him. He's safe. First stolen base on the year for Ken Griffey Jr., who spawned a couple of Nintendo games of baseball on the Super Nintendo and I think on the Nintendo 64. So I'm sure some of you have played Ken Griffey's baseball game. That was revolutionary back in its time in the 1990s. Paul O'Neill is 192 on the year, a homer and 4 RBIs, if I didn't already mention it. Sharply hit, but right to Franco. So the side retired for Seattle in the second. We go to the third. Texas 2, Seattle nothing. Huey Jennings steps back in. He's 0 for 1 today. Ooh, a little squibber, and he's going to get on board with a bunt single. And now Seattle will have to watch Jennings. See, I don't think a team with a lead would be able or would have a tendency to bunt. But Jennings took advantage of the lax Seattle defense and the lax manager, which would be me. And he is aboard now with nobody out. We'll try a little calling card action there, and that does not work. So Franco comes in 0 for 1. That's a strikeout. That brings up Ivan Rodriguez, who is also 0 for 1 on the day. And now he's 0 for 2 as Rudolph picks up back-to-back Ks. That's 3 on the game, getting into 18 on the season. Rusty Greer walked in the second. Grounder to third. Bell charges. Great play to get the force at second, throwing it to Harold Reynolds for the final out in the Seattle third. 2.5 gone by, and it's 2-0 in favor of Texas. That brings up Jojima. It's Jojima, Bell, and then the top of the order with Bradley. Jojima on the year 208. No homers, no RBIs. This could be his 54th at bat unless he walks. Popped up. We'll see who gets this. Should be Franco, and it is. 1 out. David Bell, 273 on the year, 2 homers and 10 RBI. Up the middle, Mullen. Gloves it, throws it to Napoli, and that's out number 2. Back to the top of the order, and Phil Bradley. I don't think I got to his stats in his first at-bat. 185, no homers and 2 RBIs. He is 0 for 1 today. Now he's 0 for 2 on that strikeout by Mullen. We've played 3. It is 2-0 in favor of the Texas Rangers of baseball. Juan Gonzalez, 1 for 1, 217 on the year now. Hit well to left. Bradley. Will he get to it? No, he will not. A home run for Juan Gonzalez. And that makes it a 3-0 Texas game. We'll watch that on instant replay. And Bradley had no chance. That's his first homer of the year, Juan Gonzalez. It went 337 happy feet for him. And Texas has taken a 3-0 lead on 4 hits. Seattle yet to get one. Hamilton 1 for 1. He strikes out. K number 4 for Dick Rudolph. He's having a rough go with it. His ERA now up to 3.13. Bell, no at-bats so far. He flied to center. It was a sacrifice, and that brought in Gonzalez. So it was not an official at-bat. To Rodriguez, A-Rod over to Olerud. And there's now 2 outs for Michael Young, who is 0 for 1. Grounder to Olerud. He'll go to the bag unassisted. Side retired for Texas in their 4th, but they pick up another run. And after 3.5, it is 3-0 Texas. Harold Reynolds is 0 for 1. Of course, he would go on and be a commentator most notably for ESPN and Fox. Up the middle, a base hit, and Seattle gets their first hit of the game. Now, I don't want to run here, but let's just take a look. That's a strike. So Edgar looking at a 0-1 count. Reynolds not really a threat to steal. They will make the calling card throw over there. Now he's more of a threat to steal, 59%. But I like to run when I have 60% or over. I like to have a 60-40 shot at it. So if the count now 0-1, here's the pitch to Martinez. A grounder to third. Double play ball here maybe? No, they get the force at second with a 5-4. Bell to Franco. And that brings up A-Rod, who is 0 for 1. He already has 6 bombs this season. And that's hit well to left center. And now Greer gets to it. And that's the second out for Seattle in their 4th. Olerud steps up. He walked in the second. Base hit. And a poor play that's going to let the ball go all the way to the wall. Martinez looks at his third base coach, and he's getting the green light. He scores. And that will be they're going to give Olerud a double on that. You could have given an error to Greer, but they chose not to. And Seattle gets a run back. It's 3-1. Ken Griffey Jr. is 0 for 1 today. He strikes out. K number 3 for Mullen. And we have played 4. It is now Texas 3 and Seattle 1. Rudolph working to Napoli, who is 0 for 1 on the day. Line drive right to David Bell. So score at 5. Line out. And there's 1 out in the Texas 5th. See, when the game goes fast, I can keep up with it. Jennings is 1 for 2 as Texas now goes through the order a third time. Grounder to third. Bell, Olerud, 2 out, 5-3 on your score sheet. And Julio Franco is 0 for 2 coming into this at bat. Now down to 231. Hit well to center. Griffey looks like he's got it, and he does. And we're at the midway point. If we don't go to extra innings, it is Texas 3, Seattle 1. Texas 3 runs, 4 hits, no errors, 2 left on base. Seattle 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left on base. Back to Paul O'Neill, who is 0 for 1 today. He struck out, and looked like there was a passed ball, but Rodriguez recovered through to Napoli to get the first out. Mullen is at 657 pitches. His pitch count can go to 145. Rudolph is at 67. His expected pitch count is 130. Jojima 0 for 1. Hamilton watches it go. A home run for Jojima, who is now 1 for 2. Looked like Hamilton might have had a beat on it, but that ball just kept going and going and going. 392 feet for that home run for Jojima, and we have a 3-2 game. Seattle closing in a little bit more after Texas had a 3-0 lead going into the bottom of the 4th. David Bell is 0 for 1. Right to Franco, a great play made by him. And now there are 2 outs. Phil Bradley 0 for 2. Sharply hit. And this is a base hit to center. Hamilton had trouble getting to it. And that allowed Bradley to get into second base with a double. So now Seattle going through their lineup a third time. Reynolds 1 for 2. Sharply hit to right, but it's going to be caught by Gonzalez. Almost right at the stands. And that retires the side for Seattle in the 5th. So we have a game. We have a pretty good game here. Texas jumped out to a 3-0 lead. But Seattle has now come back and gotten a couple. And we go to inning 6 with your score, 3-2. Rodriguez steps to the plate. He is 0 for 2. That is Ivan Rodriguez. Hit well to center. Griffey it bounced off the wall, and Rodriguez had enough leg to get a triple out of it. So Rodriguez on board with a triple, and that's going to bring up Rusty Greer. And I think this is the point in the game where you bring your infield in with nobody out. Greer's hitting 241, but behind him are worse hitters, so we're going to pitch around. Gonzalez is 230, and Hamilton is hitting 200, so we will pitch around Greer. And that's fine. We bring the infield in again, and we will pitch this time to Dick Rudolph. I mean, not to Dick Rudolph, but to Juan Gonzalez, who is hitting 230. Right to Rudolph, 1 out. That was a line drive. Rudolph sticked out his glove instinctively and made the putout for the first out. Now we bring the corners in. Keep the double play intact for Hamilton, who is 1 for 2. And there you go. Rodriguez won't go for the play at the plate. Oh, he goes to first. He could have got the force at second, but chose not to. And that's going to bring in a run. A bit of an ironic, a bit of a faux pas by Rodriguez, not throwing home. Could have got the force at second, set up the double play. That's what I was hoping for by doing that. And it's 4-2 with the run scoring. Texas has jumped out again to a 2-run lead. Buddy Bell is 0 for 1. He strikes out. That's K number 5 for Rodriguez. So a bit of a faux pas there for A-Rod. Wasn't using his baseball IQ there, I don't think. And we'll go to the bottom of the 6th with your score. Texas 4, Seattle 2. Martinez is 0 for 2 today. He's the 3-hitter and the DH. Sharply hit to left. Greer comes in, makes the putout, and there's 1 out. So A-Rod will have to atone for his sins here. He is 0 for 2. And this is popped up. It'll either be Bell or Jennings. It's going to be Buddy Bell with the putout, and there's 2 gone. John Olerud is 1 for 1 today. A grounder. Jennings Napoli had trouble with the pickup, and Olerud is aboard. They will rule that an error. And Olerud now at first base, making Ken Griffey Jr. the tying run. He is 0 for 2. 2 outs, bottom of the sixth, a 4-2 Texas lead. Hit well to right. Gonzalez makes the putout, and they're out of trouble in the sixth. So we go to the Texas seventh. 4-2, they lead. Michael Young is 0 for 2 on the day. Up the middle, a base hit. And Texas with a runner on in the top of the seventh with nobody out. Mike Napoli is 0 for 2. Rudolph at 97 pitches. This is hit to left. Can Bradley get to it? No, it's a foul ball. Count 0-2. Your count is 0-2 actually. I was looking at Napoli's 0 for 2 and I was thinking my count would be off. It was not. And this is hit well to left. Bradley makes the putout, and Young will hold where he is. 1 out. Jennings, as we go back to the top of the order, a fourth time for Texas. He's 1 for 3. And a foul tip makes the count 0-2. 1-2, actually, I beg your pardon. Here's another pitch to Jennings. And he scoots at the first base, and it's 3-6, and they do not get the out at first, so it's a 3-6 fielder's choice. We'll watch Jennings. Keep him honest. 2 outs, and now Julio Franco steps up 0 for 3. And that goes all the way to the wall. And we're going to try to get the out at home. Instead, it's a throw to third. Franco was safe at third. The run scores, and it's a 5-2 Texas lead. That brings up Ivan Rodriguez. He is 1 for 3. Grounder to the second baseman, over to first. Now they're out of the inning. 7th inning stretch time. Bump, 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 bump. Okay, we're back. Big Paulie coming to you. 7th inning stretch. 5-2 Texas leading. So Seattle back down 3 runs. It's O'Neill, Jojima, who hit the homer earlier, and David Bell, your projected hitters in the Seattle 7th. O'Neill 0 for 2. He gets on board. You're down 3. You really don't want to run here. We'll go to Jojima, who is 1 for 2. Franco to Jennings to Napoli, a 4-6-3 double play. And that brings up David Bell with the bases empty. 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. He's 0 for 2. To Jennings, a great play. Back over to Napoli, and that's the 3rd out. We go to the Texas 8th. It's 5-2. Texas leading. Now, thinking ahead, who is my closer for Seattle so I don't bring him in? We're at 111 pitches. Rudolph could probably go the distance here, but we don't. If he gets into any further trouble, we're going to yank him. So Sasaki is the closer for Seattle. And Greer is up as the Texas hitter. He is 0 for 1. That's a strikeout right down the pipe. K number 6 for Dick Rudolph. He is now up to 21 on the season. Juan Gonzalez, 2 for 3. Back to Rudolph, over to first, 2nd out. And that brings up Jody Hamilton, who is 1 for 3 today. Skied to right, O'Neill with the putout. And Texas quickly down in order in their 8th. 7.5 gone by, Texas 5, Seattle 2. Phil Bradley back up, he is 1 for 3. Foul. And with a count 0-2, he will swing away. And that's a strikeout. Number 5 for Mullen. Mullen has so far pitched 7 1/3, 4 hits, 1 home run given up, 2 walks, and 5 Ks. Harold Reynolds is 1 for 3. To Franco over to first, and that's the second out of the inning. Edgar Martinez, is 0 for 3. Heart of the order will probably be up for Seattle in the ninth. This winds up being an out. And it's a floater to left field for a base hit. Just got down in front of Greer, and now you have a runner at first with 2 outs for A-Rod, who is 0 for 3. And that's a base hit to left center field. Martinez is going to scoot to third on the single. Now you got the tying run at the plate for John Olerud. Olerud hits righties .333. Do we have anybody here that's better? No, we do not. Might use Jay Buhner in the ninth, depending on the situation, but we're going to keep Olerud in there. 1 for 2 on the day. And will that get down? It does. A base hit. That's going to bring in a run. That's going to move Rodriguez to third. He's in there safely. And it's 5-3. So Seattle has something going here in the eighth. Ken Griffey Jr., 0 for 3 on the day. Let's see if he could make something happen here. The pitch. Foul tip. We play on. Count now 0-1. Griffey 0 for 3. He's only hitting .185 on the season, but he has belted 5 homers. That's hit to right. Gonzalez, routine, and that's the third out. So Seattle gets a run back. We have played 8. 5-3 in favor of Texas. Buddy Bell 0 for 2. Rudolph is strong. We're going to let him pitch to Bell, and when we get to the pitch limit, we'll bring somebody in. Rudolph, Olerud, 1 out. 1-3. He's at the pitch limit now, and we'll let Young get an at-bat. Skied to right, and O'Neill, it bounces off the wall. Young will go to second on a double. So I think we left him in there a pitch too long. And we have Heft, Lavelle, Camp, Rick Camp, yes, that Rick Camp, Iwakuma, Sasaki, and Smith. Okay, so Napoli hits from the right side, so I want a righty, and we're going to bring Smith in. Carson Smith entering the game. He's only pitched 2 third innings so far this season, and an ERA of 0, and everything else is a 0. So Carson Smith will be working Napoli, who's 0 for 3 on the day. He strikes out. That's K number 1 for the game and the season for Carson Smith. Huey Jennings, as Texas is now batting around the 5th time. He's 1 for 4 today. Don't think he would bunt here. Grounder to second. Great play by Reynolds to throw over to Olerud, and that's the third out for Texas in the 9th. So Seattle needs 2 to tie, 3 to win. It's 5-3. O'Neill is 0 for 2. Now this is where, well, you know, if I used Buhner here, if he hits a home run, best case scenario, that's not really good for the Mariners, because it's, you know, if he hits it to Tacoma, it's still only going to be a 5-4 game. So we need O'Neill to get a hit. O'Neill hits righties .320. So let's keep him in. Slow grounder to Franco over to first, 1 out. So Jojima is 1 for 3. He only hits righties .260. Now here would be a spot I would make a move. Don't want to use Montero. Montero is .257. So we're going to use McKean. And Ed McKean enters the game as a pinch hitter. This will be his first at-bat in HTBL play this season. That's a strikeout, number 6 for Mullen. David Bell hits righties .251, so we're going to use another pinch hitter. I still have Bloomquist and we'll use him. And we'll have to look for a third baseman for Seattle in the 10th if we get there. But right now, Mullen will deal to Bloomquist. Up the middle, caught by Hamilton, and that is the game. A great play by Jody. And that's going to end it. Texas over Seattle 5-3. Seattle had 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors. Texas 5, 8, and 1. Mullen went the distance for the Rangers. 9 innings pitched, 142 pitches, and 102 strikes. He gave up 3 runs all earned, 7 hits, a homer, 2 walks, 6 Ks. Rudolph was the losing pitcher. He goes down to 2-2 while Mullen goes to 3-1. 8 1/3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 runs all earned, 1 homer, 2 walks, 6 Ks, and 132 pitches. Smith came in on relief, pitched 2/3 of an inning, 8 pitches, 5 of them were strikes, and he got 1 K. MVP of the game was Juan Gonzalez. And there you go, folks. Another game in the can. Our next stop, which will be game number 18, will be the game featuring the Boston Red Sox. I think they'll still be playing Baltimore. But don't hold me to that. This has been Big Paulie coming to you these last 36 minutes and change. Wishing you all well. Go Bolts as they try to clinch the Stanley Cup tonight. Godspeed and God bless. We'll do it all again soon. Bye-bye for now, everybody.